think about a nice dinner. Tonight we have a nice dinner. McDonald's is very efficient, but it's really nice. Yes. A nice dinner takes time. Yeah. A very efficient dinner in Recife would be a tablet with some Recife flavor and a glass of water. Very efficient. Yeah. But everything in life which really matters is not. Take, for example, in Brazil, we work with the company Aveda, and so we looked at, Brazil is a very great market for lipsticks. In Brazil, a woman eats about 7 kilograms of lipstick during her lifetime. Yeah. I can tell you, completely inefficient, but very effective. Look at the tree in spring, no reduction, no avoidance, no minimization, but every material becomes a nutrient. And it's based on renewable energy, it's carbon positive, and it celebrates diversity. This tree cleans the air. This tree is carbon positive. This tree is a habitat for 200 other species. Why don't we make buildings like trees? Yeah. Buildings which are beneficial, not less bad. Yeah. Why don't we make buildings which are carbon positive in that? Yeah. We need to distinguish between two different cycles. The stuff which gets consumed, like food, like shoe soles, like brake pads, like tires, yeah, like all different types of lubricants or things which get changed chemically, physically by being used, like detergents, for example. They need to be designed to go in a biological system. Yeah. Things which are just used as a service, yeah, need to be designed for technical systems. You're not consuming a washing machine. You're only using it. You're not consuming a TV set. You're only using it. So we find in a Philips TV set 4,360 different chemicals. You cannot make a TV set without copper. It doesn't work. Yeah. Copper is very dangerous in biological systems, but in technical systems it can be used endlessly. But we need to design it for that purpose. Do you really want to own 4,360 different chemicals in a TV set, or do you want to watch TV? Yeah. So that's why the question is, we can reinvent also products. Yeah? And that's why I need to show this in innovation. For example, this is the first paper in human history designed for combustion or composting. It's now on the market since 3 months. Yeah. Normally, with 1 kilogram of paper, you're contaminating up to 5 million liters of water, higher than drinking water standard. Paper is never designed for recycling, only designed to be cheap. It's always downcycling. You see, Buchler is an Austrian company, and we did this with a company in the United States to get all the paper chemicals together. Or for example, in Europe, when you make furniture, like the pieces you sit on, the chairs you sit on, yeah, the pieces you cut off are so toxic that they need to go into hazardous waste incineration. We choose all the chemicals that you could eat them. Yeah. Now they're used commonly in all airplanes. About 60% of the airplanes, but as well the trains, take our compostable fabrics. They're edible, yeah, because we choose all the chemicals. Because when you sit on this chair, it's not only the first class. You actually take it up to eat it. Yeah. You can see, yeah, you make a material which can go in a biological system. And it's innovation, and it's about 20% cheaper because the pieces you cut off now can go into gardening. Yeah? They can replace peat in it, they can make soil, they can be carbon positive. Yeah? And you can see this across the industry. Yeah? You see, it's a biological nutrient material going into that. You see this across the industry, tunnels and things in it. You see, it's here is Gabriel and color ranges. You see, we can do a lot of different colors in this. Yeah, this is a color range which we can do. Yeah. And so it doesn't need to be just gray. Yeah. You see this as well. Yeah. We can use all different types of plant fibers, but for Abaca we need to be careful because people are cutting off their fingers when they harvest it. Yeah. So I was in the Philippines and to see that. Yeah. And the paper Abaca is used for tea bags, for example, as well. Yeah. So, but it's never, the harvesting is never designed for that purpose again. Yeah. You see this, you can print on it. Yeah. It's tinta for being used on the different areas in it. This is the first toilet paper designed for you behind it, to leave it behind, to go in biological systems. Yeah. We see this with cleaning products, method for example. Yeah. We see this with cosmetic products, etc. So we show it works. We have been developing these products now for about 20 years, and you can see them, about 1,100 products on the market. The technical nutrients are more interesting even. Yeah, you can make fabrics which you just sell as a service, returnity. Yeah. But you can do this with Victor as well. Yeah, technical nutrients. Going back, you're no longer selling these chairs. You're selling the use of the chair. Yeah. So you don't need to use the cheapest material. You can use the best materials. You can do this across the industries. This is all cradle-to-cradle chairs. The world's largest maker of chairs. Steelcase is 100 years old this year, and this year all their products will be cradle to cradle, all of them. So you can do this on a big scale. Here you see Steelcase. You can disassemble this chair in 32 seconds to get it back. Yeah. So you can use far better materials. You don't need to use the cheapest stinking stuff. You can use the best material. It's the same thing. Yeah. And you can have that presentation as well if you want, that you can understand it closer as well. But only for internal purposes, please. Yeah. Now we make a roadmap, and you can see you make a roadmap which makes it possible to change the company over 20 years, over 10 years, over 15 years, depending on the company and the structure and the complexity of products as well. That's why it's about innovation and quality. You see? And sure, you make profit gold. This is my friend Bill McDonough. Yeah. And we have companies who change, like iron, for example, into cradle to cradle. Yeah. And by the way, if you wear a bow tie, in Europe it's even better because it takes less stuff than taking the time. So it makes it helps as well. You see here, this is the Philips TV. It's the first TV in human history designed for indoor use. Compared to any other TV, we analyzed the off-gassing is 30 times lower, the emissions. The peaks which you see in here are only control peaks. To find out whether our equipment is okay. So these are standard peaks which we added. Yeah. If you compare the off-gassing of this TV set with the off-gassing of a person related to formaldehyde, for example, this is 50 times lower than a person. Yeah. The first TV in human history designed for indoor use. Yeah. But you can see with marketing, they call it Eco-Nova. Instead of just giving it away for free, because the energy saving of this TV is so high that you could give it away for free, but you would only get the electricity saving over 12 years. Because it takes so little electricity. It's the first TV without PVC. It's the first TV which it has completely post-consumer recycled materials like aluminum in it as well. Yeah, be used. But they call it Eco-Nova. Yeah. He wants to have the Eco-Nova TV. Okay, my academic colleagues here, for example, would buy it. But they have a TV already, so why should they buy a new one? Yeah. But normal people just wanted a great TV. So the communication and marketing is key as well. Not only to do this thing, but to change the communication. That's why I say, look, I only know 5% of what is necessary. It needs all your qualification in the same way. Yeah? Knowing about cultural and social things is far more important to me. You see AkzoNobel changing into cradle to cradle. Yeah? It's one of the biggest chemical companies in the world. It makes chemists be proud to be chemists because we can make new chemicals. And you see, it becomes, after eco-efficiency and sustainability, the next step for AkzoNobel, cradle to cradle. You see DSM, one of the big companies, changing into cradle to cradle. Yeah. We see, this is the first bed in human history designed for indoor use. Yeah. It's the first one by Alpine. Yeah. This is a toilet paper, as I showed you already. This is paper for printing, designed for that purpose. The company is changing, the waste company is changing into nutrient company. So this is no longer about solid waste is about nutrient management. Yes. Because there is no waste anymore. But people sometimes talk about cradle to cradle. It means a society without waste. But even when you think about zero waste, you still think about waste. Yes. That's when I tell you, don't think about a pink elephant. You think about a pink elephant. Yes. So don't talk about zero waste, because you're still thinking about the concept of waste. But we only think about nutrients. Nutrients for the technosphere and for the biosphere. Yeah. And so we can only learn from nature, and it makes them proud to be that, to do so. Yeah. We now can make carpets which are not just not stinking, yeah, which are just cleaning the air. Like a leaf from a tree is cleaning the air. These carpets are actively cleaning air. They absorb fine dust, yeah, different to other carpets. They're really actively cleaning air. But you're no longer selling this carpet, you're selling floor packaging insurance. So you can use far better carpet materials. You don't need to use the cheapest stuff anymore. Yeah. Now you have a positive roadmap. This company, Deso, is now the world's most profitable company in carpet making. Yeah. When we started with them 3 years ago, it was just break even. You can see Maersk, the cradle-to-cradle passport for that. I think, excuse me, how can I get this video? Can somebody help me? Because I just, it's only 1 minute, but I want to show you how it works, because I put it in because Recife is very big for shipyards, and you can see 93% of making a ship is materials and energy. So it's only 7% labor costs. Yeah.
In today's fast-moving society, we are starting to understand that we are making an enormous claim on the Earth's natural resources. Imagine what will happen when a rapidly growing world population lives up to the insatiable trend towards consumerism. The cradle-to-cradle philosophy shows that we don't have to choose between economical and ecological prosperity. If we design products more intelligently and use materials more effectively, both business and nature can thrive and grow. Cradle-to-cradle is all about following nature's design principles. Waste equals food, keeping all materials in continuous cycles, stimulating the use of renewable energy, and celebrating diversity. By learning from nature's design principles, eco-effective design conceives industrial systems that emulate the healthy abundance of nature. In addition to functionality and beauty, cradle-to-cradle products need to be designed for either the biological or technical cycle. After the product's useful life, materials are carefully disassembled and become nutrients for new products through biodegradation or recycling. Such a system, modeled on the world's riches, can solve rather than just manage the problems industry currently creates. Good Baby is the largest supplier of children's strollers in the world. Every 3 seconds, a new stroller comes off the production line, and all the while, the company continues its pursuit for innovation. Good Baby's R&D department works closely with 4 overseas R&D centers around the globe. Over the last 20 years, Good Baby has complied with many international standards and are now stepping to the forefront by embracing the cradle-to-cradle philosophy and making it a part of their core business. And there are very important reasons to do so, especially since juvenile products have a relatively short lifespan. Babies are the most vulnerable human beings. Good Baby wants to make sure that our children grow up in a safe and healthy environment, and are ensuring this by carefully selecting 100% safe materials for each Good Baby product. Recycling materials effectively after the product's useful life will improve the living environment for generations to come. In September 2010, Good Baby started cooperating with IKEA and its founder Michael Braunberg, who initiated the cradle-to-cradle concept together with William McDonald. In the long run, this newly set business model aims to create ample benefits on ecological, industrial, social, and economic levels. As a pioneer in the juvenile industry, Good Baby is the first Chinese manufacturer to implement the cradle-to-cradle concept. Their blueprint for the year 2020 envisions to have all their products comply with the cradle-to-cradle regulations. Fortunately, Good Baby has many international allies involved in the revolutionary step towards sustainability. All Good Baby's employees joined the cradle-to-cradle revolution. Workshops and learning sessions are being conducted to master the concept and move as one towards the ultimate goal. Located in the cradle-to-cradle-minded Netherlands, Good Baby Europe has designed the first cradle-to-cradle product collection, which includes a stroller, high chair, crib, and car seat. Stroller parts are designed for either the biocycle or for the technocycle, depending on the required functionality and looks. Product materials have been carefully selected before being utilized. Each single part contains many different ingredients that all need to be carefully assessed to ensure that it passes the cradle-to-cradle requirements for non-toxic material use. And all the products have been designed for ease of disassembly. Having passed material safety and reutilization, water, and energy usage requirements, the Eco Collection was awarded with Cradle-to-Cradle Silver Certificates by IPEA in July 2011. The Eco Collection, growing healthy. Imagine when a child has outgrown a stroller after 2 or 3 years, and instead of discarding it, parents return the product for recycling. A Return Your Stroller campaign could stimulate this process by giving consumers a discount on the next purchase. For example, a Good Baby bicycle. The returned stroller will then be disassembled and carefully sorted for recycling and reuse by Good Baby. Besides product designs, Good Baby is also proactively fine-tuning and complying with working conditions in line with the cradle-to-cradle requirements. They will continue to work meticulously towards a solid future of full implementation of the cradle-to-cradle concept. And we need you to join us to make the cradle-to-cradle dream become reality.
This was the other video I wanted to show you. Good Baby makes more products than babies are on the planet because they are so big in making children's products, and they change all into cradle-to-cradle. You can get it into you can see it on YouTube. Yeah. I will. So this is Good Baby, and it's because the owner of the company, the former mathematics teacher, said we want to do this, and it took us from signing a contract to get the product on the market 1 pregnancy period, 9 months. Yeah. So we can do this, but we only can do this as a blueprint because in China we first need an open society, and we need to have 30 years of environmental debate. But we don't have it. That's why it's so important what you do here. Yeah, with all the long environmental discussions and etc. which you had for so many times, and discussing all different types of things which we now can get into quality. And you can see it here. I just want to run you through that for a minute. It's only 1 minute because it's a shipyard, cradle-to-cradle mask.
It's concrete, cradle-to-cradle.
It's so cool.
Maersk Line will implement the most comprehensive cradle-to-cradle passport ever seen for the new giant Triple E ships. The cradle-to-cradle passport will identify each and every nut and bolt of the giant 60,000-ton ships, making vastly improved recycling possible for most materials as well as safe disposal for the rest. The materials of the ships will all be marked and numbered, separating high and low-grade steel, copper wiring, hazardous materials, and waste. Based on the sorting, it will be possible to reuse materials for new ships, making dangerous and polluting scrapping a thing of the past.
As you know, Maersk is the world's largest shipping company based in Denmark, and Denmark is changing into cradle to cradle in the same way. And in 2015, in all the new ships, there will be not one gram of waste left. Yeah. Okay. Good. So you see, it's the world's largest shipping company, and in 2015 there will be not one gram of waste connected to any new ship. This is cradle-to-cradle passport, because you're not consuming the ship, you're only using it. And because in energy materials makes it cost, it makes sense that with the new shipyard which you're doing here, it could be a cradle-to-cradle shipyard basically from the beginning. Yeah. And that's why we can go through that. Yeah. So we can make buildings like trees, cities like forests. This is really McDonald, my friend and colleague, and you can see we make buildings which are carbon positive. Yeah. So we can make cities like forests where we can support biodiversity. Yeah. And we do this on a broad scale. Yeah. You see this here with buildings. This is one in Barcelona, for example, a new one, a building like a tree. Here in China, we basically lift the people and we produce the walls of the buildings for agriculture as well, which allows that we get more agricultural space than we had before, because the walls are extra space for that. And the roads between them take less space than the space which we gain by the walls of the buildings. And that's nice because China doesn't have a lot of agricultural land, and it's good to use it and continue with that. You see here with Ford, the company bought $35 million of stormwater protection to make a green roof which cleans the air and makes beautiful things. We kept a dozen of birds back in Detroit which haven't been seen for decades anymore. It's high tech as well. Yeah. You see it here. Yeah. You can really do agriculture in these areas combined with urban landscape. And we can combine it into beneficial things. Here you see, for example, a building where the windows in that building, Publico is Europe's largest maker of windows. You're no longer selling these windows, you're selling 25 years of looking furniture and insulation. That's why you can use far better material, and the company turns into a material bank. Here, yeah, so the materials are you just sell the use of the service instead of selling the product with it. Shiprock, yeah, might be interesting for here because we can make new gypsum products which are nearly as stable as concrete. Yeah, we can gypsum different to concrete, can go right back endlessly in technical cycles forever, because you always can make gypsum out of it again and again. Yeah. So, which is nice for that. Mozart tiles, also ceramics as cradle to cradle. We can make mosses which capture fine dust in cities, etc. The whole area of Fenlo is changing into cradle to cradle. Yeah. When you build City Hall, you see Park 2020, yeah, cradle to cradle, a nice business area. You see Floriade and Royal Housekeeping. These are companies which employ more than 5,000 engineers changing into cradle to cradle. So it becomes mainstream. Floriade just started, is based on cradle to cradle as well. You see products like Slimline, and here we come to nutrient recovery, yeah, which is important. This is Silva Jardim in Brazil. We started 20 years ago. The money which we earn goes into non-for-profit institute or Instituto Ambiental in Brazil or Hamburg Environmental Institute here. And we do agriculture with wastewater. And the byproduct is clean water. We do this in apartments here, for example, in China as well. We now built about 150 of these facilities. And the real nice thing is, in no area, in the worst favelas we find here, any time any of these facilities got destroyed, you could easily throw 1 liter of waste oil in it, and it would be ruined for a year. Yeah. But it never happened. So it's amazing, and if the crime rate in the favelas goes down up to 90%, because when people have a positive future, they don't destroy each other anymore. Yeah. So you can combine it with biogas production now using aquaponics for that. Here you can look at it on the internet, or Instituto Ambiental. We started in 92 in Rio de Janeiro as the first facility, and they are now done on a big scale in Haiti and other areas as well. You see, but it's not longer about technical things. It's a social and cultural component which is really important. That's why we are so glad to have partners here who understand people in that. And so we make biogas, we do agriculture. You see here, this is 1 hectare of land. A farmer can make about $1,500 to feed his family, yeah, and maintain the facility. And the byproduct is clean water. It's agriculture with wastewater. So now we get nutrients back, we get phosphate back. We can do agriculture, and people are proud of these facilities. Yeah, it only takes for 5,000 people 1 hectare of land. So we make a little park basically in the middle, which allows that people can be there and meet over weekends and have parties, etc. But we grow fish, we grow chicken, we grow pigs, we make biogas. This is high quality agriculture with wastewater, and we don't have a problem with pathogens, etc. because it's high tech work in that. We need to get phosphate back. This is the most critical thing. And we are successful to get it here back. You see here, for example, and we see companies like Thermphos who now change into nutrient management. This is the nicest thing. And I'm sorry that this is not translated, because it's the Dutch government who says we will be the first country in the world which will not import any new phosphorus. We will recover all the phosphate in that, and there will be no phosphate mining anymore. Isn't that great? So we can do things and we can change things. It's just up to us. We can get materials back, we can combine windmills with transmission towers, for example, so we don't need extra space, for example. We can grow algae. We talked about it yesterday. We can make oils out of this we can use to replace kerosene in airplanes as well. And we don't need agricultural land, which is competing with nutrition. We can use urban areas, and we can use areas which cannot be used for agriculture. And we can combine it with decentralized energy sources. We do this across different education systems. I'm holding professorships right now at all these 4 universities for that. The European Union puts a lot of money in it. So I ask you to partner specifically with Netherlands to make sure, because it can be included. Since Joppe Schauffliche, she was the president of European Environmental Council from Belgium, and she put it on the agenda. So it's always the individual as well. There are now $100 million out for cradle-to-cradle work in Europe for that. Here you see it's called all different types of programs. Cradle-to-cradle, this is a public thing from that. The cradle-to-cradle islands, and maybe one of the receive islands here could be a partner in that as well. Taiwan is a partner in cradle-to-cradle islands as well. And Long Island in New York, Long Island is as well a cradle-to-cradle island. So why not one of the receive islands? Because it's money in it, so just use it to them. There's now Arnold Schwarzenegger signing cradle-to-cradle declaration for California. By the way, he told me with his wife, I told him about the roses, 50 roses, and he told me after the 3rd time it didn't work with the roses anymore. And it came 3 times back. It didn't work. She didn't forget. So don't use it too often, doing wrong things and trying for asking for forgiveness. It doesn't work after 3 times. I learned. So, but there's a cradle-to-cradle day in California now. The 9th of June is a cradle-to-cradle day here for San Francisco. There's a cradle-to-cradle institute in California now. You see, this is in Taiwan. This is the chairman of Delta changing. He controls 60% of the power supplies for all laptops and computers, 60% this company Delta changing into cradle to cradle. You see, it needs communities around it. And what you can do is you change the super absorbers, and if you change the plastic, I hope you can translate it in that. You can use the diapers to grow trees. For example, in Israel, with one baby, we could grow 150 trees because it's raining twice, and you have a lot of water, desert areas here as well. If you use the super absorbers, but you need to change them from polyacrylates, which are toxic, dangerous for the environment, to cellulose-based super absorbers, for example. And you change the plastic, and you can grow with one baby at least 150 trees. So the baby can be carbon positive from the beginning. You don't need to minimize your footprint. Yes, okay, you can minimize your footprint when you make legislation that men have to wear high heels as well, but does it really make sense? So this is about quality and innovation, and that's why I'm so proud to have Alex and Anna, and colleagues as well, Jacaranda as well, to really support Cradle to Cradle here, and we would like to invite you to join that as well. And we can talk about how we can start, we can talk about how to do this, but as soon as you understand that less bad is no good, it's just less bad, you want to do things which are good. And this is why it's not just about circular economy, it's about society, it's about culture, it's about the human role on this planet, which is a cultural question, not just an economic question. Thank you very much.
para compor a mesa e eventualmente responder a algumas questões, especialmente no que comete, no que refere, no que tange aos casos brasileiros ou ao EPE Brasil. Pois não? O microfone ali na sexta fila. Não está o microfone aqui. Como eles preferirem. Ali já tem um microfone e já me chegou uma por escrito. Pois não.
Bom dia. Bom, 1 minuto não é nada cradle to cradle, né? Muito pouco. Primeiro, gostaria de perguntar se ele conhece o conceito de permacultura, que tem muito a ver com cradle to cradle. Então, até falar que aqui em Recife a gente tem um cradle to cradle, que é um assentamento sustentável, que é o Ecocentro Bicho do Mato, onde lá existe uma série de tecnologias sociais que fazem esse ciclo integrado. Então, primeiro, questionar o seguinte: é importante trabalhar educação e cultura, porque falar de cradle to cradle para um sistema de desenvolvimento baseado em práticas capitalistas extremamente insustentáveis, fica muito difícil a gente não trabalhar essa base, né? É complicado a gente tentar fazer o que eu chamo de estupro evolutivo, chegar com uma onda toda dessa mas se essa base ainda não foi formada. Aqui a gente tem muito no Brasil e também em Pernambuco que a gente chama de greenwashing, lavagem verde. São grandes empresas, grandes empreiteiras, como a própria cidade da Copa, que é uma falácia falar que é uma Copa sustentável. E como a gente pode fazer isso, né? Então, essa é uma pergunta atrelada com o Transition Towns. Se você também conhece o Transition Towns, falar que mês que vem a gente está trazendo o Transition Towns para o Recife, inclusive estamos buscando parceiros, apoios para crescer esse processo, e como o Cradle to Cradle está ligado ao Transition Towns, à permacultura e principalmente como envolver a sociedade civil nesse processo. Porque você falou muito de empresas, mas eu senti falta na apresentação em relação, já estou terminando, à educação, à cultura e à sociedade civil.
Muito grata pela pergunta.
Mas foi bem pouquinho.
Material scientist, that's why I say you need all your different qualifications. But specifically, sure, permaculture is one of the few forms of agriculture which actually keeps soil. Even traditional organic agriculture is using soil. So definitely permaculture is one of the important things to keep carbon in a biological system. On the other side as well, if you do permaculture with materials, plastics for example, which contain toxic stuff, you're contaminating the biological system as well. So you need to look at the biological system positively, but Cradle to Cradle is not just the biological system, it's a technical system as well. And the transition towns, it definitely makes sense, but you need to know where you want to go. So what is the goal of the transition? So what do you want to achieve actually? Otherwise you're just doing transition, but you need to define where you want to be with the transition in time as well. Because look, when I have to be in Frankfurt on Thursday, it doesn't help me to step in the right direction. Yeah, I need to choose the tools to be there in time as well. So I couldn't agree with you more on the greenwashing. Yes, that's actually the thing. That's why we formed a certification system to make sure that this is no greenwashing, that people independently can check it, and you can see it in the internet on Cradle to Cradle certification. But the cultural, the social aspects, you're far more an expert than I am. But Cradle to Cradle has been built on learning from a lot of people, especially here as well. Yes. So I did long interviews with native people here, but as well with the former environmental minister, José Luxemburger, for example, with the mayor of Curitiba, originally Chinese learner, and with a lot of people. So it's only collected in different wisdom and put it together. So it's not telling anybody in Cradle to Cradle there is no should and no must. And I agree with you when you name the people in companies no longer humans, but human raw materials, human resources, then there is something completely wrong from the beginning. Yeah. That's why you think it's the same logic. Yeah? If you talk about human resources, you think about minimizing, reducing, avoiding. Yeah? Same logic. Yeah? So if you just change in these companies the names back into things like human relations, you even don't need to change the label, the HR department, but to understand these are humans. And the main problem of the destruction of the planet is that we lose our human dignity with it. If we give up human rights in Africa, if we give them up here in favela areas, then we give them up for all of us here. Yeah, that's why I want to ask Anna and Alex to add this social and cultural aspects, because they are from here. So I'm not there to tell you how to organize your society. It's your knowledge and your expertise. That's why we need to have an institute here in the country, and as well even between North and South, and East and West in Brazil. There are big differences in the culture and the habits and the behaviors and the needs of people. So as well, it needs your contribution what is the right thing for the North, for the North and the Northwest in that as well, because in the Northeast because you need to define what you want to play, what is your role, and what is your future, and that's why it's so central that the people here organizing this event and to discuss it with them.
A próxima questão nos chegou por escrito e diz o seguinte: o protocolo berço ao berço é sobretudo um processo político para a nova era, novo pacto, natureza, economia. Como e quais os instrumentos integrados para a implantação desse modelo nos países em que o senhor atua? E no Brasil, como faremos? Instrumentos jurídicos, políticos, técnicos e legais?
Each country is different. And in Taiwan, for example, the government asked for a master plan for Taiwan to change into cradle to cradle, and they put a lot of money in it for cradle to cradle certification, for example. In other countries, it's different. In even between Denmark and Netherlands, there are big differences. And when you're in the north, your perception is a different one than in the south. And that's why there is no standard answer. That's why one of the basic principles of cradle to cradle is to celebrate diversity. We only combine the Western way to analyze problems with the Asian way to think in cycles and the Southern way to enjoy life with it as well. But in each country is a different thing, and you need to find an answer for that. Why I'm here is definitely because Brazil is one of the key countries of the future of the planet. And that's why I want to work with you. But how you want to work and how you want to handle it, up to you. And you need to tell me how you want to do it. Because I'm not there to tell you anything. I'm just there to support you. And cradle to cradle is a culture of support, not a culture of control.
Vamos alternar alguma pergunta oral, por favor?
Bom dia. Primeiramente, eu gostaria de agradecer e dizer que é uma honra poder conhecê-lo. E eu queria saber como é que o conceito do Cradle to Cradle trabalha com a questão da obsolescência programada e a obsolescência projetada. Né? Que a gente sabe que o Cradle to Cradle trabalha com um ciclo fechado, né, na idealização e fabricação dos produtos, mas a gente sabe que as empresas desenham os seus produtos de forma que eles se tornem obsoletos em um curto tempo ou projetem outros novos para que se tornem obsoletos devido a questões de moda. Eu queria saber o que o senhor acredita que seja o maior desafio do Cradle to Cradle para trabalhar também com essa questão, não só na geração de resíduos, mas com a concepção dos produtos para que eles não se tornem obsoletos tão rápido.
That's a very important question because right now people are definitely make their customers their enemies. They sell a product and they hope it falls apart and it gets destroyed. But what we are talking about defined use periods. We are not talking about durability because we don't want to have things in general which last forever because then you cannot get innovation on the market. So if I would give you a laptop, for example, and would say this computer lasts for 50 years, you would say what an idiot. But when the same computer is in a washing machine, people think a washing machine should last for 50 years. And that doesn't make sense. Planned obsolescence doesn't make sense anymore when you sell the use of a product. So we now will have a washing machine in September on the market where you just sell 3,000 times of washing. And so you actually pay per wash for using the washing machine. Now you can use the best materials. Instead of 150 cheap, stinking things, plastics in it. We now have 5 plastics in it, which can be used endlessly for the same purpose. So that's why the company turns into raw material bank. But you need to see as well that the traditional life cycle assessment is a mistake, because the products don't live. Did you ever see a living washing machine or a living TV set? You put a human projection on a product, because we want to live forever. The product should live forever. No, we need to define use periods which we communicate with the customer. That this is what you have. We now have carpets where people can choose. You want to have this carpet for 3 years, for 5 years, for 8 years, for 12 years. You can choose it. And for that you get it, and you pay for the service of using this. And then you basically sell the use of the stuff, which makes the company far more valuable. But as well, the company is interested to stay positively in touch with the customer, not to insult the customer. When you see a company like Nike spends far more money to stay in touch with the customer than making the product, this doesn't make sense. Because you're always insulting your customer. It's like, I knock you down, and then I take you back. And that doesn't make sense. It's very expensive to insult your customer. When you make shoes which get ugly in 18 months just so you can sell the next fashion, then you are insulting your customer. And then you say, please come back, so you need to pay some sports heroes a lot of money to bribe you somehow to stay on board with the product. But if you just sell piece of transportation insurance, then it's different. And in this field, for example, we are choosing all the chemicals which go into Puma products. We will see the first Puma product we will just sell for a defined period a shoe. And this shoe will have an expiration date that you know it. And then this shoe lasts for 3 years. And that's what you pay for. You can have a shoe as well which lasts for 5 years, for 8 years, and you pay for it. Because then you get exactly what you asked for. And then you can use far better materials. You put a little deposit on it, and you get your customer back. You don't need to knock him down, and then you bring him back, knock him down again. No, you permanently stay in touch, and you really sell the best materials to the customer, not the cheapest taking things.
E agora uma pergunta encaminhada. Há algum produto baseado no conceito ser berço a berço à venda no Brasil? Como o setor público poderia contribuir mais, considerando o movimento / projeto de compras públicas e sustentáveis do governo brasileiro?
You can just invite the Dutch government. They have the cradle-to-cradle purchasing guideline, which means $45 billion of purchasing power related to cradle-to-cradle in the Netherlands. It changes the whole country. So they have it organized. How to do it in the government side, you can just learn it. You can take it from the state way. You can go to the region of Limburg, Maastricht, Venlo, and the south of Netherlands. It's a province, very rich province on one side, but they changed everything into cradle-to-cradle, and you can just invite them to come and talk to you, and they will come, and they come for free, so they don't cost you anything, because they have a budget to communicate their purchasing guidelines to others as well. So you can just make a little workshop with them here from a government sector if you want to do so.
Alguma pergunta direta?
Dr. Marco, primeiro agradecer pela palestra inspiradora. Segundo, uma pergunta específica. Ontem nós aprendemos do Sr. Josias Hinojosa das indústrias, que é o sindicato de gesso de Pernambuco, que 98% da produção de gesso do Brasil se encontra no estado de Pernambuco, dentro do sindicato, e que é a segunda maior produção do mundo. E o senhor mencionou uma aplicação do gesso, em termos industriais, na abordagem berço a berço. A minha pergunta é muito prática. O que a abordagem berço a berço pode fazer por essa indústria, que é economicamente muito importante, relevante a nível do país, a nível internacional, quando mais Então, o crescimento do estado de Pernambuco também vai ser extremamente demandado, mas, ao mesmo tempo, tem problemas ambientais e sociais a serem tratados em conjunto. Então, a pergunta bem prática: o que pode ser feito dentro da abordagem dessa vez?
So first of all, as well, to avoid greenwashing, what you talk about, we need to make sure that the production is safe and is not contaminating the environment, number one. Because otherwise we make great product and we destroy the health of people. Doesn't make sense. Secondly, we need to talk about innovation around it, because I showed you a picture from sheetrock. We can make completely different chips and products which can be used for all different types of technical processes, so that you can grow a positive market with high quality materials out of it. And we can put a marker in these products so that you can collect them and disassemble them from buildings and use them again. And at a certain point you can get all the gypsum back and use it in the same purpose as well. We need to be sure as well that the source of gypsum basically is done properly. We see, for example, in Europe that a lot of fly ashes and contamination from coal power plants, desulfurization, goes into gypsum, which makes the gypsum high contaminated with mercury and with radioactivity as well. But it's not necessary. We can do these processes. The secondary sources for gypsum production out of thermal processes, we can make them that the gypsum is clean, and then gypsum is far more elegant because you can use it endlessly. Yeah. You can put gypsum back into gypsum, whereas for concrete you only can do a downcycling of it, because you cannot make the concrete into concrete. The process is irreversible, where the process for gypsum is reversible. So with such a successful politics and work here, as you know, I looked at the region here where the growth is so strong. You need a lot of building materials, but that allows you to put these materials into cycle from the beginning, and you make healthy stuff. And gypsum is nice as well because it absorbs a lot of contamination in buildings, for example, and destroys it, so it can make very healthy houses with gypsum products as well.
Notícias alvoçareiras para Pernambuco foi um dos participantes gostaria que o professor Michael fizesse um breve informe sobre a preparatória para Rio Mais 20 da filosofia da plataforma berço a berço, como ela será apresentada, se ela estará na Rio Mais 20.
We think that the plan right now for Rio Plus 20 is very much backwards and very much focused on the greenhouse effect and energy side. In that case, there are key areas related to carbon, soil, agriculture, not really covered in that. And from my side, we are planning to be there and to take part in workshops and seminars, etc. But I think about to be different. If right now, if this is such a dynamic area, why don't you make a little conference here about Rio Plus 30 and talk about where to go in the next 10 years instead of looking back what happened in the last 20 years. Yeah, we better make it in Recife and get all the productive and great people. I looked at the list of participants. I'm completely amazed how much qualification is just in the room here. Yeah, and we could discuss how the future can look like here. I'm sure it might make more stress here for Anna here. But it doesn't need to be just you being involved in that. But I think if there are so many creative people here, it shouldn't stare just to Rio, which is just a big media event first, and it will be in danger for greenwashing a lot, and a lot of people who just trying to make a nice window talking there. And we just should do things and say, hey, look, why don't we look for a cradle-to-cradle island here? Why don't we look for a cradle-to-cradle shipyard? Why don't we look for the gypsum industry? And develop this region differently from the beginning. But the first thing is, what you can see here, is you don't build incinerators for waste management, because then you need to fill these incinerators first. So make a plan which really needs to do it.
Alguma pergunta direta?
Bom dia para todas as pessoas aqui presentes. Eu estou meio que, acho que até em dúvida se deveria ter tido mesmo levantada, porque enquanto educadora e fazendo parte da coordenação da brinquedoteca da cidade do Recife, eu queria mesmo falar de como, quanta dúvida começa a surgir na cabeça, né? Quando a gente vem para um momento desse, que bem dito pelo senhor, com tanta gente experiente, lá no fundo eu estou me sentindo menor do que uma semente de mostarda. A nossa experiência aqui em Recife, no sentido de brinquedoteca, é a única no mundo, haja vista que nós participamos de um fórum mundial em Porto Alegre, e foi dito isso. Nós trabalhamos com quase zero brinquedos industrializados, esses escorregos, essas piscinas de bolas plásticas, ou mesmo aqueles brinquedos, carrinhos, bolinhas. Nós confeccionamos e ensinamos as crianças a confeccionar, oportunizando também elas nos ensinarem com as experiências delas com materiais já existentes, tipo o rolinho do papel filtro, o papel que já não é mais utilizado, que é o borrão, o pote da margarina, a tampa da garrafa PET e outros. Meu medo agora é que até que ponto, né, esses materiais também não são prejudiciais, não só ao meio ambiente, mas à própria criança. Eu sei que a gente reutiliza e oportuniza a criança a expor mais a sua criatividade e reutilizar esses materiais, e damos também um pouquinho da consciência ecológica. Quando eu vi hoje pela manhã o seu vídeo falar do Jardim de Infância, eu fiquei muito feliz, porque nós trabalhamos com as crianças de 0 a 11 anos. Mas quanta dúvida apareceu na minha cabeça. O medo de não estar fazendo a coisa certa, apesar de não estar querendo ser só menos ruim, está querendo ter mais efeito, né? E aí eu queria que o senhor eu estou até assim, a quem buscar para melhorar, a quem buscar o que é bom, o que é ruim. Ontem eu vi uma fala, não lembro bem quem foi, mas acho que foi do professor aqui na frente, ou do mestre, não, doutor aqui na frente, que ele falou da questão da bolsa com material reciclado, né? Com plástico de banner. Nós não usamos isso, mas os brinquedos, até que ponto eu estou fazendo uma coisa certa?
Muito grata.
First of all, definitely it would be nice to do a local manufacturing of toys here, because then you can define what goes into that. I'm not that much supporting to use existing materials which are not intended for the purpose. As I showed you, you might cause a bigger problem for these because you contaminate the environment with something which never had been intended for recycling. That's why I'm as well not there to tell you that children should not have colors and different things. There are different ways to do so. But what you can do as a customer, you can say, can I burn it in my fireplace without a filter? Yeah, or can I compost it? Or do you take it back? Yeah. Because you can only be responsible for biological materials. That's why it's important to define things. What we did in this cradle-to-cradle concept, we did toys which can be used at the beach and which degrade to go in biological systems. They look like other plastic toys as well. They're not made with competing with food in that, because we said, look, at a beach, children want to play with things, they want to play in the sand, and they have plastic material, so the plastic needs to be designed for that. What you can do is you can go to this cradle-to-cradle island project and ask them for the right things to do so. You find them on the internet to do so. But I agree with you, I'm most concerned about children, but as well, the company Good Baby gives me a lot of hope, because we systematically choose everything, each child's needed, each stuff. And if we can do it even in China, sure, we need a lot of effort, because wherever we are not there, we take out lead, when they put in cadmium instead, which is far more dangerous even. So, but I'm very optimistic that we could be successful, but I ask you to look for a local production of healthy toys from the beginning. Because if you only use other stuff, like for example when you make tactiles out of PET bottles, these companies have massive water problems with contamination, because the PET bottle was never designed for that purpose originally in that. And so the antimony washes out as well in the recycling process for that. So we need to reinvent all the things from the beginning. But sure, we can start with natural materials. Yeah, we can start with wood, we can start with all different types of natural materials to do things first with it. We can start as well with a series of colors which we can use. Yeah, that's why I showed you that these companies basically making colors which can go in biological systems as well. So that is not just a nice idea. Yeah. And sure, I am always happy to be back in Brazil. There's so much positive spirit, so much energy really to make things change. That why don't you get 20 people together and then we make an initiative for healthy toys here? Yeah? Not only for the ones which we can take care, but that everybody can do the same. And I know as well there's a national funding program for new industries here. Why should we get the toxic